Fabulous. I'll just make a few hellos for a few minutes as all of the different streaming services catch up to the fact that we're now live, and welcome. I'm so excited this week to see everybody come to Mindset Moments with Michele. Thank you all for coming again this week, 12:30 Tuesdays. We're going to be here and share some fabulous information with you each week to help you create that mindset for success. And this week, it's my real honour and privilege to introduce Yvonne Collier. Well, Yvonne, it's so fabulous having you here and having you join us for today's session.
It's lovely to be here, Michele. Thank you so much. It's we do chat a lot anyway, so it really, I think, will be a chat.
Yeah, I was thinking before we started, we're going to have to contain it to
I know.
That's going to be really hard.
We can do it.
We can. We're going to set our mindsets to it. Now, Yvonne, for those of you that don't know, Yvonne is a world-renowned woman who does a lot of work in the soft skills building, get it right, Michele, the soft skills building area, and especially in the assertiveness training and getting what you want. But also, when I first started in business here in Sydney and moved to Sydney, Yvonne was one of those people that wherever I went, Yvonne was there. So she's very well connected. She knows all of the people in the know, and she's an amazing human being as well. So welcome, Yvonne.
Oh, wow. What an intro. My best friend wrote that. Anyway, it's delightful to be here. I love connecting with people. Actually, if I can just say it now. So my purpose is to bring light, love and laughter to everyone I connect with. Now, so that doesn't mean everybody, because you don't. But if I connect, then that's what I like to do. And so it's delightful. Thank you. Thank you. And I think you've got some good questions for me.
I do. But do you want to explain? I'm fascinated, and every time I seem to talk to you, even though we talk a lot, I seem to find out something new and different that I didn't know about you before. So for today's audience, I'd love you to just explain a little bit about how you came to that fabulous mindset that you just shared with us. What were the main things that happened, and what formed you and your mindset over your career?
Oh my goodness. I mean, honestly, there's so many things, but so let's just say the top three that just like come to mind like this. I think my mindset, I had good role models all through my life with my family, my friends, my school. And I've had a passion, I think, really, to bring this, light, love and laughter. I didn't actually discover that until well into my life, when I looked back and reflected on as a lifelong learner, and bringing hopefully joy in as many possible moments as possible. So that's a bit kind of airy-fairy, but that's it. I mean, life has served lessons on the way, and there's always been joy in the lessons, even actually the lessons that don't, that at the time were difficult.
Yeah, I could appreciate that. And because each week this is live and we're going to air, I actually just have to let in the wonderful KM. Do you want to just tell us, while I'm doing that, what is success for you? What do you define as success?
Okay. So success for me has depended on where I am in my life to some extent. As circumstances change, as you grow and you mature, success means different things. But when I kind of like analyze it, it's for me, it's actually a feeling. Success is a feeling of joy, really. And so then the question is, well, where does the joy come from? Yeah. And that's where it comes, I believe, from making a difference, really appreciating what I've got, bringing the laughter to wherever I am. And so wherever I am, we all like the wheel of life. So in the wheel of life, you know, there's your business life, your family life, your community, your spiritual, your health, and your well-being, like all of it. And I think it's being joyful actually in all of those areas. And then whatever success is tangibly, if you've got kind of that feeling and that joy, then it is what it is. It's great.
I love that, and I so wholeheartedly agree with you. It's about bringing joy, and then when you have joy, you have success in whatever you're doing, whatever area it may be of your life or your business. And that really ties in nicely for me, because joy, I think, is slightly different to passion. But what would you say that you're passionate about?
Oh, okay. I've got lots of passions, but here's my top three. Not necessarily in this order, but number one, the work that I do. You know, Michele, you just mentioned the soft skills, which for me are like the hardcore, you know, for business success. I so delight in teaching them and really helping transform people's lives when they get to be able to speak up, but not too much, you know, balance for me with empathy, but not too much. And then where's my umbrella? and my umbrella of respect. So doing that.
It's a tiny umbrella, Yvonne.
I know. I'll have to get bigger umbrellas.
I'm thinking you're about to have a cocktail as we have this interview.
Too early, no.
It's under an umbrella of cocktail drinks.
Oh, well, when I'm training live, you know, I give everybody a cocktail umbrella, and nearly always there'll be somebody who says, Yvonne, where's the cocktail? So it's like later. Anyway, so I'm passionate about that, because if everybody could do that, you know, speak up, balance with empathy under the umbrella, we would have a peaceful, productive, profitable world. So that's passion number one. Passion number two, and not necessarily in this order, is my lovely husband, Dean Collier. And it's like we're together 24/7. He's my business partner, my soulmate, you know, husband, everything. And he makes all of my Zoom and recordings and video happen, you know, so I feel very blessed. And, you know, we've been together almost 20 years coming up this year. And Madison Training has been going since 92. So next year will be 30 years of my own training company. So it's like, yes.
That's quite an achievement. And that leads in really nicely to what I'd love to hear about from you. I mean, 30 years of running a successful business is just quite incredible. But before I go into that segue, that was number two. What was number three?
Oh, yes. So the other one is traveling. Love to traveling overseas, you know, and of course that's all gone. You know, basically no overseas travel last year. We had one little 1 week holiday in October. That's it. So I do miss it. But anyway, it will come back, you know, it will come back.
I think many people watching and tuning in now will definitely be thinking about, you know, some of the similar things that you've shared, you know, about the respect and the traveling and their partners or their families that give them a lot of inspiration, a lot of the reason for getting up in the morning, for doing what they do, and a lot of the things that we talk about here in the show around mindset. And so with all of those different things, what would be the three key tips or the three things that you think of again, you don't necessarily need to do this in order of importance, but what would be three tips if after 30 years, and that's quite an achievement of being in business.
Next year's 30, it's 29.
Well, nearly 30. You'll have a lot of cocktail umbrellas.
I love it. Yeah, okay. I think so. A tip, number one, and I think this is probably number one for me, is lifelong learning. So I'm a lifelong educator. So I have, ever since I was little, I've been educating and absolutely learning right from being very small and loving learning. And partly because then with that educator hat on, I'm looking to learn to pass on to other people, to learn to pass on. So that's, I think, why, well, it's one of the reasons I think why my training and facilitation is very effective, because I'm always looking to implement something new every time, something I've just learned, you know. So yeah.
What do you think it is about the learning? Because not everybody likes learning, and some people think, you know, I've finished this and I never want to learn anything ever again. But what is it that motivates you and you think that helps you with a positive and a successful mindset from thinking, oh, I love lifelong learning?
Okay, several things that have just come to mind. I get good results. So it's, you know, like you said, it is a mindset. So again, being very little, I think I've always had an open mindset, a curious mindset. You know, if we listen to Carol Dweck, it's a growth mindset. Heidi Grant talks about a get better mindset. So it's something I think that I've always had and developed. Again, good role models really helps. So it's that mindset, and the beautiful thing is, it, you know, honestly, no matter what happens, I mean, it might not be funny at the time, but usually, even the most terrible thing, and I've missed planes, and I've had my fair share of disaster. I mean, not a huge amount, but I've had a share. And I always think, you know, the other side of this, Yvonne, when you get to the other side, whether it's a day, a year, a month, whatever, it's going to be funny.
Yeah, I've used that a lot with people, and especially last year when people were all struggling with a lot of the changes and the speed of the changes happening through COVID, etc. I use that learning, that lifelong learning element, if you like, to help them reframe. And what is it that they can learn in this situation? What is it you can learn out of whatever it is going on? I was very lucky that I had so many difficult things happen when I was younger. You know, really
that's a brilliant reframe.
But it did. I credit the work I did with John Demartini for a lot of that, because he helped me to understand that in every terrible challenge, there was a blessing. In every blessing, there's a challenge.
Yeah.
And so last year, I was working a lot with people to help them to understand that in a lot of what they were seeing as challenges, there are also many blessings. And that reframe comes from that idea, I think, of lifelong learning, that getting into that mindset where you actually are appreciative of whatever it is that's going on, whether you're missing a plane or missing a job interview or any of those, you know, what you would think of as really serious things at the time, but being able to reframe it so that you go, well, what do I learn from this and how's it supporting me? And then letting go and trusting. I think for me, it's been such a learning curve as well. Learning how to just let go and trust.
Yeah.
So I don't stay stuck in the anxiety or that fear that can come up when things don't go right.
Yeah, I love that. Let go and trust. And I love John Demartini too. And one of his books that I love is Count Your Blessings. You've probably got the book. And I remember when I got it, I opened it and I looked at all the chapter headings, and there must be about 40 chapter headings. And I had to laugh, because I thought, I don't need to read the book. If I just implement each of the chapter headings, that's it. Just do it. Take action on it.
So number 2, what would be your second tip around mindset?
All right. Well, okay. I mean, as I say, there's so many. Okay, but the next one, I would say, is stay youthful. I think that is so key. So it's kind of have like a youthful mindset, a youthful movement. So I have practices, daily practices. I get 8 hours sleep. I meditate for 20 minutes every morning, first thing. Then I go swimming and do aqua in a heated indoor pool. And these are kind of habits that will keep me energized, growth mindset and youthful. So yeah, I think that, and anything we can do. So it's like eat right, keep hydrated.
I think you touched on some really important things there, that even though we're talking about mindset here, it's also the mindset around keeping that physical vitality and physical youthness that comes from, I mean, it's really simple stuff, but people don't necessarily pay as much as attention as they need to about getting enough water each day, about having enough sleep each night, so that your body as a machine gets the basics that it needs to actually flourish and grow and to support you through the day.
I totally agree. Totally agree. And so actually just thinking of that, I mean, today is such a full-on day. I've got a webinar straight after this. I'm training on a webinar tonight. I'm actually out in a meeting this afternoon. I will get an extra meditation of 20 minutes in between the end of the afternoon and my training this evening, which kicks off at 6. So it's just like you've got to balance everything, and as we know, our mind is connected to our emotions, our physicality. It influences how we speak and what we say, and it's all connected. It's all.
It is. And I love the whenever you talk about having that break, and I know that you take a break when you have long days like I do. But I always, in my head, I go back to thinking of it being like having a nana nap when we were kids. In the afternoon after lunch, you'd go back into the classroom and you'd put your head down and you'd have like a nana nap. I thoroughly recommend them to all of my clients, because I think that those short pauses and short timeouts are really quite incredible, especially for your physical health, to keep that energy high throughout the day.
I agree with you, Michelle. And I mean, I think so the Spanish and all the Mediterranean countries have got it right, haven't they?
They do.
The siesta. And I know you spent quite some time in Chile, and I would imagine with that Spanish influence, did you have a siesta?
Not everywhere in Latin countries actually practice siestas now. But what's interesting is, even though that they cut out those afternoon siestas, their lifestyle still literally went from quite early in the morning to late at night.
Yeah.
A lot of that was that many of the things pre-siesta time carried over to post-no siesta time, but they had a different way of pacing through the day than in Western countries. So there was a lot more, it is a lot more about being around other people and sharing activities. So there's not so much of a time-driven drive that we do have here in the West. And speaking of time-driven drive, your third tip for creating a successful mindset, Yvonne?
Well, we've already done a lot of this today, and it's laughter. It is laughter. And laughter dissolves conflict. So, I mean, have you ever been at a meeting and, you've all got different points of view, but it's amazing when you get people to laugh, then it's like your breathing's all in sync. It's absolutely is rapport, and it absolutely dissolves conflict. So it really is, look for the funny in everything. And so here I would love to give a plug actually to Maury Morgan and the School of Hard Knocks. So Dean and I, 2 years ago, did this very intensive 5 evening stand-up comedy course in Sydney. We were the first ones to do it in Sydney. And Monica Rosenfeld, she was on it too, who we know, and she's actually doing stand-up. I did it to bring more humor and laughter into my training and facilitation. I was never planning, and you should never say never mind. to do the stand-up circuit. But it was just so good. And they're already up and running in Melbourne again, even though, you know, we're not post-COVID, but it's looking good, and it will come back to Sydney. School of Hard Knock Knocks. It's just wonderful. And that really does help you cultivate the funny of everyday situations. And, you know, and you look at your life and you look at your characteristics and you make fun of them. And I know you haven't done that one, but you've done comedy as well.
Yeah. I was just thinking of my time at NIDA, where I love saying to people I went to NIDA because it makes me feel like Julia Roberts or something.
Sounds good.
And it sounds great. I mean, I've been to NIDA and the Conservatorium of Music, but they were adult education classes. They weren't, you know, like Hollywood classes. That's my secret, you know. I don't give all the explanation. But I did similar reasons, Yvonne. It was about bringing more humour into the work that I do, and helping people to transform through what can be challenging or whatever label you want to put on it, through those processes and through those situations. Humour, and the other one I wanted to add is singing. When you get teams together and they start singing, the vibrations that change because people are singing together. Again, going back to the kids, and, you know, when you're kids and you're all playing together, you kind of come into that sync because you're all just in the moment. And so whether it's singing or using humour, all of those different kind of tricks that we use now as adults to help bring people through their processes and to bring them into a closer harmony.
If I may, actually, I'd love to build on that, because last October, a lovely friend of mine, Cheryl, invited me to be part of this choir. She's a member of an international choir, and they had this project for October. It was all to do with getting your mind right and coping, basically skills to cope. So they got a grant to do this choir. So I had never sung in a choir. It was a cappella. Never sung a cappella, and yet this 6 weeks, it was Wednesday evenings, we produced a wonderful Christmas carol come song, and we were all there at the end product on Zoom, all, you know, in our little.
Fabulous. Well, and you seem to have frozen there, Yvonne, a little bit.
You know,
I don't know what your technical support's doing behind the scenes, but you're back again. That's okay.
Okay. I think I actually knocked. The computer is too much information, but the computer is sitting on a music stand. Funny, I'm talking about music, and I think I must have bashed it in my enthusiasm.
It was funny because it looked almost like you were about to burst into song, and the computer froze with you bursting into song.
Oh no, the teacher said I have a beautiful voice. I love that.
Oh, how fabulous.
It was.
So before we get to our closing questions and part of the discussion, I just wanted to open it up to KM. Sorry, I don't know your name, KM. But as you are joining us here on the Zoom meeting live, if you wanted to unmute and video yourself, this is the point in the live sessions where I give anybody that would like to an opportunity to ask questions of myself or my guest around mindset. And of course, if you don't want to ask questions, then that's perfectly okay as well, because obviously some people are obviously still at work, and so they're only able to watch this behind the scenes with everything kind of turned off for them. But this is an opportunity, so I'm just checking on Facebook Live.
Oh, good on you.
And all of the other wonderful technology that we have now. But
actually, that's a really good point about, you know, what's good about COVID. Again, it's that mindset thing of, yes, it has been challenging for so many people in so many ways. And it's like acknowledging that. And then, okay, and the mindset of what can we do about this and what's good about this? I love that question, actually, what's good about this? And I think that Zoom, you know, if this had happened 20 years ago, we wouldn't have had the technology that we have.
Yeah, and thank you, Cam. I've just heard that yeah, they are at work, so it's a bit hard to be interactive. But anybody watching this, please know that if you do want to ask questions, either just pop it into the chat and I'll make sure that we come back before we finish to that. Or as I said, it's perfectly okay if you're at work. I've designed it so that people can be sitting at lunch, having their lunch and just watching this in the workplace and not necessarily having to join in. But if you want to join in, join in. So I like to come with to the end of these conversations with one of my lovely questions around if there was one piece of advice that you give to your younger self, what would it be, Yvonne?
Okay. It would be trust that it will all work out. And it's not just enough actually just to trust. That's really, it's important to do that, but then and take action. So you can't really sit on a mountainside and meditate and will it all to happen. Well, actually you can, however, for most people, including myself, it's taking action to follow that up. And if I may just add a tag it on the end is, and do the best in every moment.
Yeah.
So if we're really being present, that mindfulness, that mindset of being present is key. And then it's like, if we are in the present moment, in fact, anxiety and worry doesn't live here. It lives in the past or the future. So the more that we can, really live in the present, the more powerful, I think, the more effective, the more joy that we'll have in our lives, and therefore we'll bring to other people, because actually it's relationships, isn't it? It's all about relationships and how can we help and support one another. Yeah,
it's fabulous. And we have 3 minutes left, Yvonne, so just to start to wind it up, I know, I mean, we could keep talking like this all the day. So just to start to bring this to a close, how can people connect with you if they want to find out more about Yvonne and soft skills training and Madison training? That was the name of the company, and Madison Training.
So Madison has 2 Ds and 1 S. So there's the website. So YvonneCollier.com. And so email is Yvonne@YvonneCollier.com. That's so easy. The other way is, and I'd love you all to go and check out YouTube, where, again, this is a positive of COVID. It forced me to get online live. And so now I've recorded, with Dean's help, at more than 70 of Yvonne's top tip clips.
Fabulous. And is the channel on YouTube called Yvonne Collier? What's the channel?
No, the channel is actually, you have to get 100 subscribers. In 5 weeks, I got 100 subscribers. So if you go Yvonne's top tip clips, then it will come up.
That's the channel name.
That's the channel name. Or you can just put YouTube or top tip clips and I'll come up, or Yvonne Collier, it'll come up. Yeah, so there's I think, actually, although I've done over 70, I think we're up to 50 something posted. In an ideal world, you will like them, you will subscribe and hit the bell.
What's the bell?
The bell means when you go back into YouTube, it's there and it reminds you.
Oh, fabulous. Well, more tips, not just about mindset today, but thank you to my guests for today.
Thank you.
Fabulous Yvonne Collier. So we learnt a lot about lifelong learning, keeping youthful, and the importance of laughter. And thank you so much for sharing your tips with us today, Yvonne. I've really appreciated the fun and laughter and lifelong learning that I get every time I talk to you and we share time together in moments like this. And
thank you, Michelle, for the opportunity. It's well, as I say, we chat anyway, but it's so lovely to chat live on YouTube, live on Facebook.
It is. It's a very different world now where we can go live and we can do this. And I want to thank everybody that's been watching.
Yes, thank you.
Everybody that's going to be watching post to the follow-up video. So please tune in again next Tuesday, 12:30 live on Facebook, YouTube, and any social media channels near you, where I'll have another guest. Next week's guest is Lena Smirelli. So a very different lady again, very different set of expertise, but also looking behind what is it that makes people so successful? What is it about their mindset and about who they are that has created success, not only in their lives, but obviously the people and the communities around them. So until next week, it's been my honour to once again be here to chat with Yvonne and to chat with you, and we'll see you next week.